Yo, we got some continued American collegiate rugby beef. College Rugby Association of America versus the National Collegiate Rugby. Now, this isn't a new beef. We've been dealing with this beef for almost, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years now. If you guys don't know, NCR came off from escrow after the bankruptcy of USA Rugby, and USA Rugby was like, yo, college rugby, you got to take care of things on your own. They did a brand change, did some board awakening, got some investment-ish, and changed from escrow to National College Rugby, recruited and brought in a whole bunch of teams that were both D1 as well as D2, as well as smaller mid-major and D3 colleges and small colleges, as opposed to just focusing on it. On the flip side of it, College Rugby Association of America said, hey, we still the leaders here in America in college rugby. We still hold the biggest competitions. The women's D1 select. We got still men's D1. We still got the biggest clubs in the country with Life University and Navy and all these people here. And we still have our D2s and D2s and smaller divisions as well. So we're still out here. But I think even though we got the Kendrick and Drake beef, I think we saw our coming to a head moment with NCR. And it really came out about 2 weeks ago whenever the CRCs completed, and the last week when the CRAAs were about to get started. And CRAAs, I think, women's competition started. And we got some news about the men's sevens competition. All right, let's take a quick look at what was going on as we had that.
Facts around the full, complete facts around why it was canceled, but essentially the CRAA, which is the college rugby, USA's rugby college branch.
Ooh, I think my thing went out. Oh, okay, hold on. I think the video didn't go to completion. Hold on. Let's try this again. All right, I think we got a little bit of an error, a little frozen up issue. Hold on, let's see if we can. But all right, so basically what was happening in that is a shout out to Lance Kavanaugh on a Great American Rugby. He was talking on his Instagram stories, and somebody had brought up the situation that college rugby, CRAA's Collegiate Men's Sevens tournament had been canceled for the men's side. And it was removing the factor that there were some repeats that were going to happen, and there were some issues that essentially occurred with the CRAA's men's competition, the CRAA men's competition, where they were unable to put together the They were unable to put together the location correctly for where the college CRAA men's sevens competition should have been. And as a result, they were unable to find a location on time, and ultimately I had to cancel, which is significantly damning to CRAAs. I do believe that, obviously the success of the CRCs, 150 plus teams, absolutely doing it out in Houston, another successful campaign. You saw so much good natured words that came out from people like Grant Cole, people like Pat Clifton, obviously the NCR guy. Like, everybody was very, very proud and happy to see the development over the course of the last 4 years of the CRCs and where the NCR has been going. And CRCs aren't even the only competition that NCR has. They still have their multiple. They have a slew of championships for 15s and 7s that allow them to be able to consistently stay on the map. But the CRCs were the preeminent sevens competition for college. And if your other side is unable to complete their portion of it, it does make a very solid case, especially for something as serious as not being able to get a location early, because these are things that have to come into play. You do have to ask, is it now time that maybe the CRAA concede, and CRAA essentially being USA Rugby, concede collegiate rugby over to NCR, which has been doing great from a private industry. They've doing solid from a marketing industry. They are legitimately just focused on it, and subsequently have been able to find ways to be able to magnify the collegiate sport, the collegiate rugby arena, despite the fact that there is this split between teams on either side. You know, and a lot of people now, a lot of people would argue like, hey, it's USA Rugby should run it. But the reason why we came to this situation was obviously poor money management by USA Rugby. And then, of course, the ultimate bankruptcy. And then the issues now that came up when it came to dealing with membership dues. So for NCR, you know, they've been out here trying to establish themselves, trying to figure out how to be able to bring on refs, how to be able to make sure that the money that they do spend in memberships that go to USA Rugby stay within collegiate rugby. And on the other side, but at the same, and have now argued about the cost. Whereas on the other side, USA Rugby has, you know, not done a great job in being able to chew gum and walk at the same time when it comes to this, while also simultaneously kind of being petty in actions when it came to the refs, in there being the ban or a reprimanding on the ability for referees to be able to do NCR games while keeping their accreditation for being a ref, which was very silly, but also at the same time, USA Rugby trying to say, hey, we have to also make sure that we are upholding specific guidelines and laws or regulations so that we can assure the safety and consistency of our players. So there is an argument on both sides. And look, you know, I don't know how many of you guys know, I've been on both sides. I very, 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 very briefly worked with NCR during the pandemic, and very briefly worked with USA Rugby, and got used as an example of jumping between the two. It was something I wanted to get out of very quickly because I didn't like the energy between it. But, you know, from both sides, there has been a lot of animosity. But I think we're starting to see a positioning that, you know, 4 years later, it's looking good for NCR. And NCR came in like Kendrick, Gatling gunning, getting the CRCs back and really building that into a respectable arena. It's still not at the height of where it was back in 2010, 2011, 2012, but it's growing into something that is now being consistent. It is much more web accessible. It obviously gets shown on the Rugby channel. They really try and make a professional job. Shout out to our guy, Ryan Ginty over with Next Level Rugby. And to be able to put together something that is an entertaining positioning and something that creates storylines. So I think this week and the loss of that might make a change. And I have to say, like, as a person who I support USA Rugby, and I understand the need for consistency, especially within this small rugby arena, you know, it's not a bad thing to concede over control to private arenas. You know, it's not like, not even college football does all of it. NCAA does not run all the stuff. Like, championships are run by private organizations. The Heisman Trophy is run by a private organization, you know, so you don't need to be all hands on everything all the time. And it doesn't always work because it makes for obviously split decisions, split minds. And at the same time, situations of sort. So I look at it as something that goes, all right, we really need to kind of take a look and rework this. And I need them to be able to get on board, because it's not a good look for them to be in this contestment. I think it really is starting to hurt college rugby. And right now, college rugby is the biggest asset that USA Rugby has for so many things. And we're seeing that on the national level, that we need this in a bad way. We need the transition point. But yo, let me know what you guys think about this. Yo, where do you feel like USA Rugby and NCR Rugby need a kind? I know a lot of people have animosity against USA Rugby. It's very easy because they've been the biggest dog. We've seen the mistakes at the widest. We've seen the issues that they have done. But at the same time, you know, there is a consistency in knowing there is a connection between World Rugby and them and whatnot. But NCR, they're not a new dog on the street. They've been around for better part of 20 years, 20 to 22 years. You know, they're seeing success. It looks like they have their focus. Man, where do you guys stand on it, man? Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to let you get back to the show in a moment, but I want to talk to you about our sponsors, Health Enhanced Foods, the best specialty flours in the business. What does that mean for you? That is the flours that allow you to be able to get the nutritious need from your bread made. That's muffins, bread, croissants, whatever, pancakes and muffins. It will give you the opportunity to be able to get the best while still being able to eat like you wanted to. We have various amounts of products available for those who have special dietary needs, to those who are looking for a special health outcome. And of course, because they're part of the Rugby Swag Show, we want to let you know that you got a chance to go to healthenhancedfoods.com and use code Rugby Swag to be able to get 20% off your first order. Y'all, this is something that you're going to need. You got to build up, have your energy at the best, be the maximum. It's 2024. Let's do the best. But now I want you guys to get into it. Let's get back to the show.